Hi there. In this tutorial, we'll cover lucidchart.com. This is another opportunity for us to be able to use something that, in this case, is web-based, to be able to create some type of dynamic presentation of what our process would look like from a flowchart perspective. So this is lucidchart.com. They do have some free options, and so I'm just in Google right now, so I'm just going to type in lucidchart free. So when I type that in, essentially this is what's generated. And they have different types of options. So you can say, what I would recommend is that you do sign up for the free account rather than going to some of they have pricing. So if you go directly to the site, the free account is a little bit more difficult to find. So if you type that in, lucidchart.com free, you can say, here we are. So we can register for a free account in this case. Now, it'll walk you through the registration point. It'll end up, once you get all the way through the registration point, it'll end up looking a little bit like this. But what you can do essentially is we're going to create a new blank document. This is my account, so you can see all kinds of different things are in here. But looking here at the blank document, it'll open up one system. And this will just be me showing you what a blank document would really look like. And looky there. So we have our blank document, and then on the side, what it does show us are the flowchart shapes, which is awesome. So in this case, you can see what's referred to as the terminator here. So in that case, you'd think of an endpoint, but it's really starting and endpoint. You can see the decision diamond. You can see the process tool is here as well. So, and then you'll notice that the arrow is up here to be able to link these. But what's really awesome is, so I'm going to insert my terminator in this case, and it already knows that I'm going to want to type in there. So I'm going to say open lucidchart. I'll start at the beginning for this. Create free lucidchart account is our starting point, and then at the end, I just hit Control C, Control V. I'm just going to paste this just so I can have it for my endpoint to know where we're supposed to end this process. Is I'm going to say complete flowchart tutorial. So is kind of the endpoint, which is good. Now what you can do, and what's really nice about this tool and why it makes it so friendly is, yes, we have this templated approach, so you can see it kind of gridded out in squares. You can see up top there's 1 inch, there's 2 inch, there's 3 inches. So for that aesthetic design, it allows us to really be able to see where we're at and what we're actually doing, which is pretty cool. What's even more cool though is that it's a very smart and intuitive tool. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm just hovering over this with my mouse, and you can see these red circles in this case. So I'm just going to grab this, put my mouse here, and then just click it, and it knows, based on how flowcharts work, that an arrow is next. And it just populates that. I just grabbed it right out of it, so I'm just holding down my the left side of my mouse in this case. And it says, okay, now that you put this in here, I know that you need another symbol. What do you need? Well, we're going to put in a process step. So in this case, it says, okay, that's a process step. There you go. So, and then we're going to say insert shape. In that case, we inserted the shape. And then we can go back. We can hover over it. We can drag another arrow out of this. And then we're going to say, okay, we're ready to make a decision. And then we're going to say, did I insert the correct shape? Question mark. And it knows, based on this shape, what to do next. It always knows the yes direction is before the no direction. So if I were to click here, it would make a yes line. If I were to click here, it would make a yes line, because the next step that it knows, we need to make a yes. So in this case, we're going to go in this direction for the yes, and it knows that. So it automatically puts yes in there, and then we're going to put in another process. Now, subsequently, if the next thing that we should put on in there, it knows is going to be a no, and then from there, we're going to hit it in our process shape. So you can see how easy this tool is, because it's so intuitive of how this is really, going to function. So did I insert the correct shape? Yes. Okay, so then we're going to say we're going to insert the next shape in the process. Okay, so we've done that. Okay, that's great. We're going to continue. We're going to say, okay, next step. Okay, and then subsequently you can say, okay, we understand how this works. We've used our starting points, our ending points, we've used our decision diamonds, we've used our process steps, we've used those yes, no's, and then from there, we're going to just connect the two. We're ready to go. We've completed our, in essence, completed our tutorial, with the exception of one thing. We have to flow through it. So what happens when we get to this point and say, did I insert the correct shape? And the answer is no. Well, so we're going to say delete shape. And then from there, what are we going to do? Well, this isn't an endpoint. What we're going to have to do if we really want to do this for an assignment or for the purpose of PQI or something like that, we're going to need to complete the flow. So we can't just end here unless we use the end shape. Yes, you can change your shapes. That is something that's possible. But in this case, we wouldn't want to do that. We would just want to insert the correct shape. So we're going to draw in our arrow, link back to that, and we've now completed our cycle. We know exactly what to do and how to do it. And yes, you can get more fancy, you can get fun, you can say, okay, I want all of my starting points to be green and my endpoints to be green. Okay, I want all of my decision diamonds to be blue. And I want all of my process shapes in this case to be, we'll say, purple. And it knows. And then in this case, we have a nice dynamic tool that's nice and balanced. We don't have to fight with the alignment of the directions of these arrows. They're all automatically linked. So if I were to move this, you can see how it moves, where those locations are. What's pretty cool is then, say, oh, I like where that's at. I don't really like how this works. You can change the style of your arrow. So you can go, in this case, you can say, okay, instead of, this line, I want this nice curved line. Okay, very cool. Now we have a curved line. We have a curved line in this case. So you can really kind of work through this process a little bit easier. You can change the ends if you wanted to for whatever reason. The default end will work just fine. But you have a lot of options to make this work for you depending on what you're trying to achieve. Additionally, what's nice is that it tells you exactly if these shapes are actually equidistant. So again, this matters. You can see this is 0.375 inches apart. Okay, so that's good. And when we look at that, well, that's not 0.375. So let's just move it over. And now everything is the same amount of space in terms of those lines. And if you wanted everything to match, there we go. There's 3.75. In this case, 3.75. Let's bump this up, 3.75. And then there we go. Now we have everything that's balanced. It looks aligned, and it's a nice clean tool that can be nice and compact. So this is a great, I think, tool for you to be able to learn. You do have the option to be able to name this. It does autosave as well. So you can save as, you can name it. You can then download as. We'll say we'll download this as a PDF only to the current page in this case. So we'll just hit the word, we'll hit download in this case. It's going to generate a file. Depending on the size of the flowchart, it'll take more time. There we go. We have a PDF now of what we've just accomplished. So you can export it really, really easy from there. So hopefully this helps kind of understand how these really work. It does have some smart functions in here as well as far as arrangements. It does some auto layout arrangements as well. So in this case, we did it one way, and now I just rearranged everything, and it knows based on our arrows what to do. So this is another way of looking at it. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. Make sure you understand that Control Z allows you to go back to where you were, or else you may run into some trouble because it does autosave this information as well. So just return back to where we were. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully this tutorial helps kind of work through lucidchart.com, but I do think it's a really innovative tool if flowcharting is something that you want to do in your workplace. So thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.